How do you think it's going to play out? Like, will they actually trade Kyrie Irving? And if they do, where would they trade him to?
Ultimately, when a player says that he doesn't want to participate playing in your uniform anymore, and he has the level of talent that Kyrie Irving has, you have to move him.
Really?
Because you can't build around him, because nobody's going to want to come play with him because they know he doesn't want to be there. So because of that dynamic, while you still have LeBron James, who has a full no-trade clause, the best case scenario would be to get some level of value clearly in return for a dynamic player and hope to do it, I hate to say it, before the start of the season.
Wow. Do you think it's on the table that Kyrie Irving will not start the season in a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey?
Oh, it's on the table. Once he comes out and he gives you a list of 5 teams he want to get traded to, and here's the problem with that. A team like the Knicks is like, I want to go to New York, play in a large market, and lead a basketball team and turn their franchise into something that they haven't been in a really long time. Minnesota, they doing something real special, trying to go run with Wiggins and Towns and Butler. Miami, they have the championship glory already, the Mafia. I say that affectionately, with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. You've seen them build squads. And you know what else? They're not fans of LeBron James and how he left either. And so we got to kind of kinship eye to eye with that one. And then lastly, of course, you got to say the Spurs. Who doesn't want to go run with Kawhi and/or Pop? Because they've been there, done that. So while it may seem like his wish list is all over the place, ultimately, guess where he's going to go? Where the Cavs trade him.
I think there's one thing that's really important to be said about all of this is he's on contract for 2 more years because he requested a trade and because he has certain teams that he would prefer to go to. The Cleveland Cavaliers are not beholden to grant his request, trade him to a team that he wants to be traded to, or trade him at all. So the Cavs are like, listen, I understand what you want. That's great. I'm really glad you're being open and communicating with me. But ultimately, what I want is what matters because you signed a contract to play in our uniform. But let's start gaming this out. Okay, he doesn't want to be in LeBron's shadow. He wants to be the focal point. Why would you list the Spurs when you would then be in the shadow of Kawhi Leonard?
There's a different level of respectful maintenance that comes with playing with LeBron James. Because every time something happens in Cleveland, whether the coach is fired, whether someone is traded, whether J.R. Smith or Tristan Thompson gets a contract, everything revolves around us saying LeBron had his hand in it.
Yep.
It doesn't happen that way in San Antonio.
No.
There's a clear distinction of Kawhi's the superstar player, but the decisions are going to be made by the front office, and the coaching clearly going to be done by Greg Popovich. So there is a level of distinction there. And also, I want to make sure I correct something you said. It's not about being the focal point. It's about not playing with LeBron James. Let everybody own what this is. This isn't Kyrie saying, I don't want to play with other all-star players. This isn't Kyrie saying, I don't want to win. This isn't him saying that I don't want to lead a team. It's him saying, I don't want to play with LeBron anymore. And it just so happens he plays in Cleveland.
It is interesting because of all these teams, it seems like he would have another all-star level player on his team if he went to all of them. But let's keep going through the list. You have the New York Knicks. Now, this I find interesting because the obvious trade here would be Carmelo for Kyrie, Carmelo in a piece for Kyrie. We get it. But Carmelo also has a no-trade clause. And reports have come out that Carmelo is focused on going to Houston. He doesn't want to waive his no-trade clause and then go to Cleveland and play with LeBron James. Why do you think that is?
Because for a lot of minutes of a basketball game, they play the same position. And guess what? I'm going to the same Hall of Fame that he's going into.
And we're also going into the same free agency together, too.
Correct. And yes, he's going to be in the VIP level of the Hall of Fame, but we're still going to be in the same building. So playing in his shadow in the same position, not going to be able to do it. I know it sounds good on paper to say Carmelo and LeBron, but Carmelo, while a capable three-point shooter, is not necessarily the spot-up type of player that LeBron thrives off creating and getting shots for. Kyle Korver, Kevin Love has developed into that type of player. Channing Frye has developed into that type of player. And so because of that, he needs the floor spread. Sometimes Carmelo Anthony, and rightfully so, when you're a 20, 25-point scorer per game, he get that thing on the wing and turn to Adrian Dantley. Start massaging it a little bit. Start reading what. This got David Stern's name on it. Should have Adam Silver's name on this thing. And so LeBron is like, yeah, that's my dude. Of course, I would love him to come run with me. But here's the thing: Carmelo wouldn't start if they had Kevin Love.
Ooh, interesting. And then we have this. We have the Timberwolves, which obviously just revamped their roster. They look good. They look like they're almost a shoo-in for the playoffs in Western Conference. They haven't been in the playoffs in 13 years. And you start looking at what a potential trade for Kyrie would look like, and one name comes to mind, almost poetically, a former #1 pick of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Andrew Wiggins. Could you see something like that getting done?
I don't do that if I'm Minnesota.
Really?
No, not at all. Because here's why. In order to win in this league, of course it's a point guard driven league. You see many guards leading their team in points and shot attempts and assists, truly dominating the basketball as the primary ball handler. And again, I know this has gotten me in trouble in the past, but positions were created so a novice could follow the game. Just because you're a power forward, that don't mean you're walking around with muscles popping out of everywhere. Just because you're a shooting guard, that don't mean you can spot up and knock down the three consistently. With that being said, you have to have people that can guard LeBron, Kawhi, and KD. Wiggins, while he is a 20-point scorer, is a developing defensive player, a terrific young athlete, and you need players at that position to ultimately take you to the next level, in my opinion.